Late one night, I posted online that I'd lost my phone. The entire entertainment industry exploded. A famous actress paused right in the middle of filming to help me search for it. The heiress of a major entertainment company dropped everything, calling an emergency meeting to mobilize her entire staff to find my phone. One of the hottest singers in the country abandoned what he was doing to join the hunt. Everyone was dying to know what kind of big shot I was. The truth? I was just a paparazzo. The kind everyone wanted to punch. The kind who could destroy someone's reputation at any moment. But I did have some professional ethics. I never fabricated stories or used deceptive tactics. Because my work was solid. My personal account had racked up a serious following. My studio had only been around for 2 years, but it was already making waves. Yet since the start of this year, my career had hit its Waterloo. Everyone knows, the entertainment world is one massive rangang, a vat of corruption. Fame and fortune intertwined, perfection nowhere to be found. I didn't buy it. I refused to believe there wasn't a single celebrity without some dirt to dig up. So, I spent my days stalking A-listers from dawn to dusk. My first Waterloo was top idol Sienna Cloud. I tailed her for half a month straight. Finally caught her sneaking downstairs late one night during a heavy snowfall. She kept glancing around with this guilty expression, checking left and right to see if anyone was watching. I snapped awake immediately. Thank God my equipment had already started recording. Turned out this girl, young as she was, didn't even make it past the apartment complex gates. Just stood there in the middle of the blizzard hurling snowballs like crazy. Then, like something possessed her, completely alone, she rolled around in the snow. My assistant whispered beside me, "Hey, Trevor. I think Sienna Cloud's from the south. Probably never seen snow this heavy before." I said nothing. Being from the south doesn't automatically mean you've never seen snow. My assistant piped up again. Maybe she has to maintain her image all the time. Never gets to just let loose like this. Over there, after rolling around in the snow, playing like a little kid. Sienna Cloud wore a smile she couldn't hide. I fell silent. The next day, my account posted 2 things. 1 video, 1 photo set. The first was a 20-second video of the top idol rolling in the snow. Rare, precious footage. The second was a collection of high-quality shots I'd captured. An artistic, emotionally rich snow photo series. This idol, barely in her 20s, had built an ugly little snowman in the apartment courtyard at midnight. She'd even brought a hat. Packed God knows how many snowballs. I shot plenty of pictures of her with her snowman. I'd majored in photography in college. Every time I photographed someone, I couldn't help thinking about composition and lighting. If I hadn't been shooting covertly, I would have moved in closer to light her properly. The trending searches went absolutely wild. I'm dying. I heard Trevor stalked her for half a month, trying to dig up dirt on Sienna Cloud. And all he got were these shots. Midnight snowball fight, that's it. Even funnier, Sienna Cloud always acted so cold and aloof around snow when filming variety shows. Everyone else would run out to play, but not her. She stayed Ice Queen cool. Turns out in private, the girl goes absolutely wild. Haha. Maintaining her image way too seriously. Haha, never saw that coming. Tried to sneak out for some snowplay and got caught by the paparazzi. Trevor, this photo set is absolutely stunning. You captured Sienna Cloud's ethereal beauty perfectly. Daily question. When is Trevor going to switch careers and become a professional photographer? I want to book a session. Seriously, these are gorgeous. Better than the studio shoot she just did. Does anyone else see it? The contrast between Trevor's video and photos is genuinely mind-blowing. Thanks to the photos I took, Sienna Cloud gained over 100,000 followers in a single day. The whole thing was bizarre. But I wasn't someone who believed in coincidences. As fate would have it, come Valentine's Day, my target was actress Grace Winters. She'd risen to fame 7 or 8 years ago. Stunning enough to carry the big screen. With both acting chops and martial arts skills. Her fanbase included beauty stans and acting purists alike. Her fans ranged from elementary schoolers to senior citizens. Her standing in the industry now? Untouchable, except she was over 30. And no one had ever heard a whisper about her love life. The industry was full of rumors, though. Some said she'd been married for years. Even had kids. Others claimed her preferences were questionable. Her private life a mess. But some insisted she was simply single. On Valentine's Day, I caught Grace Winters walking into an upscale restaurant. The place was packed with couples. Grace was dressed to the nines. Clearly, something was going down. I perked up immediately. This was definitely going to trend on Valentine's Day. But after Grace sat down for 10 minutes or so, instead of some handsome date arriving, I watched an elegant older couple walk in hand. They sat down with Grace, clearly not young, but healthy, vibrant, a lovely elderly pair. Grace's lips moved, seeming to greet them warmly. From the shape of her mouth, it looked like she was saying, "Mom, Dad." Valentine's Day. An actress over 30, meeting her parents at a fancy restaurant, playing third wheel in spectacular fashion. Other than being single, I couldn't think of any other explanation. On Valentine's Day, Grace Winters trended for third wheeling her parents. At the same time, lower on the trending list, another topic appeared. Grace Winters doesn't date. Isn't she just in love with herself? The restaurant photos I posted were beautiful and romantic. Couples everywhere, except for Grace herself. Everyone else, including her parents, I'd deliberately blurred out. This made Grace's face look absolutely radiant. Her fans flooded the trending topic with complaints. All these years, and not one person has caught her eye? I'm dying. Grace's parents seem so chill. Not only do they not pressure her, they're totally fine with their grown daughter third wheeling them on Valentine's Day. Trevor is literally my god. Grace hasn't posted beautiful photos in forever. This woman is genuinely gorgeous. Tell me she's in love with herself and I'd believe it. Something even stranger happened. Grace's manager sent me a private message asking if I had any other shots from that night. Their studio wanted to buy them all. Sure, they hadn't caught any dirt, but they were willing to pay top dollar for scandal-free photos. Even complimented my photography skills and asked if I'd be open to booking a professional shoot. I felt deeply insulted as a professional. My assistant smirked beside me. Hey Trevor, maybe we should pivot to a photography studio. With your skills, we'd be drowning in clients. I kept my face blank. I'm the type who gets stronger with every failure. A-list actor Felix Sterling wrapped filming on his new movie and immediately went undercover. Dressed head to toe in disguise, barely recognizable. I thought to myself, if my eyes weren't sharp as a hawk's, I genuinely wouldn't have spotted this guy. But here's the problem. I followed him all day. The entire day. Discovered this man started eating at 8 a.m. Dim sum for breakfast. Hot pot for lunch. Street food stand in the afternoon. Korean barbecue for dinner. After each meal, he'd take a stroll. Spot something delicious along the way and stop for another round. Just when I thought his day was done, after 11 p.m., Felix left his hotel again and hit up a late-night eatery for yet another meal. What the hell was his stomach made of? God, watching him eat that day with such gusto. I secretly ordered everything he'd eaten, but I literally couldn't swallow another bite. And he's an actor. Dear God, once again I'd failed to dig up any dirt. All I could do was shamefully post on Twitter a photo series of Felix in all his youthful glory. Every shot in the same style. Felix at a different restaurant in each one. In the photos, Felix's short hair was practically makeup-free. But his flawless face could handle any lens. That overflowing youthful energy, combined with everyday atmosphere, every natural expression utterly captivating. My caption: ate myself into a food coma. But clearly no one cared about my suffering. The comments were all marveling at how gorgeous Felix looked. Oh my God, is this really my man? Tell me he's an 18-year-old high school student and I'd believe it. Is there a production team that needs a lead? Trevor, keep this up and I'm becoming a fan of your technical skills. Incredible. No, but seriously, 6 meals a day. How does he maintain that physique? A day later, Felix reposted my photos with the caption, "Next time come eat with me." And stop posting online. My manager chewed me out. The comments were full of laughter again. Compared to exposing scandals, apparently I was better at creating content. So I earned myself a new nickname, Paparazzi god of war. Fans from every fandom started urging me to work harder. Enough. Did they have any respect for a paparazzo? There weren't many paparazzi in the entertainment industry. We had adversarial relationships with celebrities. A paparazzo like me was somewhat of an anomaly, actually well liked. Sometimes at events, I'd show up with my equipment. And when celebrities spotted me, they'd wave and greet me. Then their fans would camp out under my account waiting for stunning shots of their idols. How could anyone disappoint such a hungry, thirsty flock? I had no habit of editing photos for others. Paparazzi never beautify images. But the celebrities under my lens still had their own distinct style. Gorgeous as gods battling in the heavens. So naturally, things evolved in a direction I never wanted to see. I'd actually gained genuine fans. They kept urging me to change careers. I clutched my heavy career ambitions close, determined to keep stalking. This time, I chose an actress with a polarizing reputation. Summer Hayes. This woman had otherworldly beauty. The kind of face that photographed perfectly straight on, 360 degrees without a bad angle. Just because of that face and her acting, countless male fans and CEO-obsessed fans covered their ears and doted on her blindly. She'd only debuted a few years ago but was already massively famous. Summer's anti-fans were legion. Fame breeds controversy, apparently. Online rumors claimed she had a terrible temper. Probably true, since she'd been caught multiple times with a dark expression on set. She just seemed completely unbothered by any of it. As for other things like having a sugar daddy backing her, or a messy private life, frequently in and out of private clubs, all baseless rumors, never any real evidence. I'd run into Summer a few times before. This woman truly had the same expressionless face every single time. Looked incredibly arrogant, only when filming or performing on stage. Did you see her expressions become richer? Word was she absolutely despised paparazzi and fansites. She'd been caught outside a filming location once, cursing out a fansite. Twitter exploded with outrage that day. People said she was cursing fans, not fansites. Disrespecting people, but with that god-tier beauty. Issues that didn't involve moral principles couldn't shake her status. Bad publicity or good publicity, it was all publicity. This type of person was worth investing some stalking time in. The truth proved, Summer Hayes was no easy target. I definitely wasn't the only paparazzo tailing her. Marketing accounts would always grab a blurry photo or unclear video clip and fabricate stories without context. During the time I followed Summer, she either went to set to film like normal every day, or reported to the company. Very professional. Occasionally when she went out privately, one turn, she'd speed off and leave all the paparazzi in the dust. Without fail, we'd lose her trail. But online, rumors about her never stopped. I looked at those familiar photos and videos. Couldn't help but laugh coldly. All the same recycled shots. Yet they were so good at fabricating stories. In this business, I didn't stage fake content. Paparazzi were already hated. Spreading fake news was just low class. Unsurprisingly today, I lost her again. I ground my teeth in frustration, turned my head with zero expression and said, before she turned, did she stick her hand out the car window and flip me the bird? This was absolutely intolerable. This time it was my assistant's turn to fall silent. Trevor, so are we calling it a day? I smirked. Go back? She thinks she can shake me off that easily? Around 7 p.m., just as the streetlights flickered on, my car stopped in front of an upscale private club. I'd changed clothes too, now wearing a sharp, custom-tailored black suit. The club had security guards posted at the entrance. Everyone entering had to verify their identity. You needed an invitation to get in. Tonight there was a party here. Supposedly the birthday celebration of some wealthy heiress. My assistant chirped beside me, Trevor, we don't have an invitation, there's no way we're getting in. Wait, how do you even know Summer's coming? I sat in the car looking outside, waiting for an opportunity. Who knows, maybe we'll slip in. As for how I knew Summer would be here, I had to thank my powerful network of connections. Back in school, I'd built solid relationships, especially in high school and college. Among the friends I hung out with, there were always a few rich kids. Back then I didn't fully grasp the distance between people and where it lay. Later, right after graduation, they all became moguls. And I understood. But that was fine. My old friends were incredibly supportive on the intel front. Truly living up to our old promise. When you're rich, don't forget each other. I'd hold onto my connections forever. Guests kept arriving at the entrance in a steady stream. My equipment kept recording continuously. The car was parked in a hidden corner. Window cracked open. I didn't see any sign of Summer. Didn't see her car either. Finally, heaven rewards the persistent. Summer appeared fashionably late, dressed to kill. Security at the gate didn't even check if she had an invitation. Before letting her straight through, my assistant said, "Trevor, Summer's inside now. What do we do? Should we find another building to see if we can shoot the interior?" I pinned an elegant lapel pin to my chest. "I'm getting out to see if there's any chance of getting in. You go find another spot and see if you can shoot inside." Except I didn't even get the chance to exit the car. Through the window, I spotted a young woman dressed elegantly, walking straight toward me. I didn't understand why, but instinctively rolled the window up. A moment later, someone knocked on the car window. I rolled the window down and looked out at the woman standing there. She bent down to peer inside. An incredibly striking face. From my angle looking up, I could just make out a small beauty mark on her neck. My brain frantically searched. When did the entertainment industry get this newcomer? With a face like that, whether acting or doing variety shows. I should have heard about her. "You're Jaden Chen, right?" She spoke first. Her voice matched that face perfectly. I froze for a moment. "You know me?" She seemed to smile. "I've seen some of your work." "Seen my work? What work did I have?" The first thing that came to mind was all my candid shots. Pretty morally questionable stuff. So was she a fan of mine? Anyway, I'd verified my real name on Twitter. So it wasn't strange she'd know it. "Can I help you?" The woman before me asked instead. "You followed Summer Hayes here today, didn't you?" Seeing my guard go up, she added, "Don't worry. I'm not from her studio. If you want to get inside, I might be able to help." Sometimes in life, when one door closes, another opens. I'd been worried about how to get in. But I wasn't sure I could trust this stranger. She said, "Of course, you can choose not to trust me. Pretend I was never here." She turned to leave. I quickly stopped her. "Wait." I got out of the car, carrying only a briefcase, perfectly appropriate for entering a place like this. "May I ask your name?" She smiled and handed me a business card. Black card stock, with a name and phone number embossed in gold. Sophie Turner. That name meant nothing to me, just an ordinary paparazzo, who only dug around in entertainment circles. Completely unfamiliar. But the way this woman dressed, she clearly belonged to the wealthy or elite class. "Why are you helping me?" As I followed her inside, I couldn't help asking, "Do you have some personal grudge against Summer Hayes?" Sophie Turner was like some random NPC character. Discovered I wanted to photograph Summer, and generously let me in. Let me play the role of her male companion. Completely unconcerned that I might photograph things I shouldn't. After hearing my words, Sophie seemed to consider something. Then answered with unexpected cheerfulness. "You could say that. Whatever you photograph, just make sure it's based on truth." She sounded so pleased about it. Yeah, there was definitely some personal beef there. After getting me inside, Sophie left. She had her own networking to do at this kind of event. Within minutes of entering, I'd already spotted several familiar faces, like business moguls who'd appeared on financial news programs. Of course I wasn't the only one who'd snuck in as someone's plus one. In this world of fame and fortune, opportunities and connections were everywhere. Few people came just to photograph celebrities like me. Looking around, I finally spotted Summer Hayes surrounded by a crowd. She held a champagne flute, though I didn't see her drink. But the atmosphere was intoxicatingly glamorous, radiating an indescribable nobility, truly the aura of a wealthy heiress. There'd been plenty of rumors before claiming Summer had a powerful benefactor backing her. Some major influence. Hadn't her benefactor been there since birth, though? Not having my camera didn't stop me from shooting. I had my phone. Right after entering, I'd seen several young people taking photos with their phones, rarely attending this kind of event. What was wrong with taking a few shots on my phone? Except before long, Summer stood up, and an elegant middle-aged man approached. They embraced briefly, then she left with him. My eyes had been tracking her the whole time, but in the blink of an eye, they both disappeared around a corner. I instinctively moved to follow, but the moment I turned, I found Sophie Turner smiling at me. Sophie casually grabbed 2 champagne flutes from a passing server's tray, offering me one. Congratulations. I hesitated, then clinked glasses with her anyway. Taking a sip, my alcohol tolerance was neither great nor terrible. I wouldn't get drunk. Sophie said, I know where she went. I'll take you somewhere else to photograph her in a bit. Wait, hold on. Is your grudge against Summer really that deep? You're actively guiding a paparazzo to her? I asked cautiously. Ms. Turner, is your conflict with Summer that serious? Sophie took another sip of wine. Her smile cryptic. That's right. Lately our conflict's been pretty intense. Well, that explained it. Sophie led me down a different corridor. On the way we encountered her acquaintances. Seemed like older, respected figures. Sophie, who's this young man beside you? That affectionate gaze made things awkward. Easy for people to misunderstand. Sophie smiled lightly. Mr. Song. This is a friend I just met. I'm actually busy right now, so I can't chat long. The elder, called Mr. Song, looked visibly disappointed. Sophie led me up a staircase, continuing to an empty balcony. From here you could look down onto another balcony covered in fresh flowers. Looked especially beautiful. And Summer was sitting on a swing on that balcony, curled up there alone. In the hazy golden light, she looked like a quiet princess. The scene was breathtaking. The distance between us had suddenly closed. And this architectural design was pretty interesting. The balcony I stood on and the one below weren't directly facing each other. Looking up from below, where I stood must be in a blind spot. Sophie said, the balcony below isn't in a public area. Not many people can access it. Mr. Chen, I have other matters to attend to. Make yourself comfortable. After saying this, Sophie left. It suddenly occurred to me. How did Sophie know Summer's movements so precisely? But work came first. The view from here was stunning. Even without my equipment, I couldn't resist taking a few shots with my phone. Her temperament might not be the best, but that face was absolutely flawless. I'd originally come with the goal of exposing Summer's dirt, but instead, she just sat quietly on the balcony for a long time. Downstairs occasionally grew quite lively. Seemed like the host was making speeches. Or someone else was. Come to think of it, I didn't even know whose birthday party this was. Yet I'd crashed it so recklessly. I really should feel a little sorry. But what I didn't regret was this. Summer closed her eyes and rested on the balcony for a while. Then took a phone call. Her voice sounded slightly irritated, but she only said 3 things total. What? So what? Got it. Nothing revealing there. I still had more stalking to do. Exposing scandals wasn't a one-night job. But honestly, during this time, Summer hadn't provided any material that really qualified as dirt. Then she left the balcony. Summer returned to the main hall. Young, handsome men tried to approach her. This top-tier actress, who didn't seem like the obedient type, kept her distance from all of them. She didn't look like someone with a messy private life. Then she somehow procured a slice of cake and went to a corner to eat it. Still didn't look particularly happy, though. However, at one point, I saw Sophie Turner approach her. The two said something. Summer looked somewhat agitated, even shoved Sophie slightly, then quickly turned and walked away. A bit like a sulking child at home. I could only see Sophie's back, with no way of knowing what conflict these two actually had. That was it for tonight. I'd lost track of Summer again. This place was huge, and plenty of people gravitated toward her. She was a star with a massive following. In the blink of an eye, she'd vanished. While searching, I accidentally bumped into someone in the crowd. Looked up, it was Sophie Turner. She looked at me, her eyes seemingly curious and excited. She already left. So, did you get anything good tonight? Her interest in Summer's whereabouts matched my own. I said, I got something. But probably not the kind of harvest you were hoping for. Sophie raised an eyebrow, saying nothing more. I wanted to thank her properly. But just then someone approached to congratulate her. Sophie, another year older. You're 27 now, right? Any interest in settling down this year? I have a son. The next second, Sophie quietly draped her arm around my shoulders. Smiling at the other person, Mr. Chen. Talking about this in front of my boyfriend. He'll be upset with me later. The man called Mr. Chen looked up at my face, then smiled after a moment. Sophie, keeping your relationship so secret? A boyfriend this handsome. Why hide him? No worries, your younger sister's still single, right? This Mr. Chen seemed determined to marry into Sophie's family somehow. Sophie exchanged a few more words with him, then finally pulled me away from the crowd. Sophie looked apologetic. Sorry. Borrowed you as a human shield there. But she had the kind of face that made you want to forgive her. At this age, with her overall package, being the subject of matchmaking attention was perfectly normal. But my focus was elsewhere. This is your birthday party? Sophie smiled at that. Why? Want to wish me happy birthday? I said sincerely, happy birthday. But somehow that made the birthday girl laugh. She said, lately I've been enjoying watching Summer suffer. If you want to find her again next time, feel free to contact me. This woman looked so gentle. Why was she a bit vicious and vindictive? After that night, my account finally updated after so many days. The video from Sophie's birthday party ultimately didn't contain much substance. Summer had just attended a very ordinary party. Compared to that, the photos I'd taken with my phone were far more captivating. Each photo from that night's party got posted. At one point in the main hall, Summer was surrounded by people, radiating nobility. That flawless face combined with the wine-red dress, so stunning her beauty stands could barely walk. And on that small balcony, she was surrounded by blooming flowers. Like a little princess. A gorgeous photo series. My expensive phone purchase hadn't been wasted. My caption was just one line. Is strawberry milk really that good? Summer's tens of millions of fans flooded into my comments. Trevor will forever be my god. Did you do a whole shoot just for my girl? Oh my god. Summer's company better come take this hit. These were shot on a regular phone. Just a regular phone and they look this good. What the hell have you all been shooting normally? So beautiful I thought these were from a scheduled photo shoot. Wait, Trevor, what does the caption mean? Haha, I know. Look closely at the later photos. Summer gradually has more strawberry milk cartons at her feet. I love that brand too. It's delicious. I'm dying. In public she's holding champagne. A noble princess. Then secretly drinking strawberry milk in the corner. Summer haze. What other surprises haven't I discovered yet? Since when does Jaden Chen take paid gigs for celebrities? Summer has scandals galore. You only shot these photos? Online chatter accusing me of taking money to whitewash Summer's image was substantial. I'd admit I lacked the skills to dig up her dirt. But saying I took money was going too far. What money? I didn't get paid, but I wouldn't accept false accusations. I immediately replied, didn't take any money. Only posted photos because I lack skills. Haven't captured anything substantial enough to expose. But netizens didn't care about my suffering. They were all laughing. Summer's anti-fans still wouldn't let it go. Furious, I immediately posted the video of Summer speeding away from my car, sticking her hand out the window to flip me off. My caption, happy now? Satisfied? You cold, heartless people. I'll never forgive you. Netizens all said, isn't this hilarious? I just see a desperate paparazzo. So Trevor, did you catch up after? Summer's drift on that turn was beautiful. Does she race cars? Trevor's actually hilarious. Stalking her only to get mocked by Summer. Then suspected of taking money by her anti-fans, haha. Netizens had their fun with memes. But Summer herself apparently didn't see it that way. Previously, when caught in candid shots or surrounded by hidden rumors, she'd ignored everything. But this time, she left a comment on my post. How did you even shoot that balcony photo? Delete it. I'll sue you for invasion of privacy. Just you wait. What paparazzo hasn't dealt with lawsuits? Was I scared of her? It wasn't even shot in a private space. The party host had invited me in. But netizens quickly discovered the truth. Marketing accounts said you had a sugar daddy. That your private life was a mess. You stayed silent. Trevor's photos are this gorgeous. And you're suing him. Is it because he exposed that you like strawberry milk? What's Summer's reason for freaking out? So hard to figure out. Girl, it's normal for women to like strawberry milk. My mom likes it too. Nothing embarrassing about it. I'm dying. Only freak out over real scandals. What does this prove? How much of that previous stuff was fabricated? The photo series of Summer became wildly viral. Soon after, the strawberry milk brand smartly approached her to be their spokesperson. And the collaboration agreement was announced very quickly. Just days ago she'd been desperately denying she liked strawberry milk, playing it cool. Now she was wearing soft pink filming commercials. The teaser dropped immediately. Her fans were ecstatic. Summer's manager privately contacted me, sending over several cases of strawberry milk. My assistant slurped away, grinning. Trevor, this strawberry milk is really good. No wonder Summer likes it. Sweet and tart, rich milky flavor too. And her, an actress liking this stuff. It's actually pretty cute, whether it was a persona or not. This hobby of Summer's had scored her a major win. The cool girl beauty queen angle. That marketing angle would always have a market. But seriously, could I really not dig up any dirt on this woman? Trevor, you still planning to go after Summer? I stroked my chin. What was my original goal again? My assistant said, expose her scandals. That's it, right? Summer obviously didn't sue. Though reluctant, I had to admit. Objectively, after this incident, her reputation improved significantly. She even gained followers. Only now she was associated with strawberry milk, getting teased by fans everywhere she went. The cool girl couldn't quite maintain her icy expression. I stayed in touch with Sophie, saying I wanted to thank her properly by taking her to dinner. The wealthy heiress cheerfully accepted. We scheduled dinner. The young lady said her palate was easy. She'd eat anything. So I booked a restaurant I'd saved on my favorites list. I arrived 10 minutes early. Barely sat down for 2 minutes when Sophie walked in. Today she wore a dark blue button-down, paired with black slacks. Not everyone could pull off that look. On her it fit perfectly. I'd done some research on Ms. Turner. Genuine wealthy heiress. Her family operated luxury hotel chains, branches all over the world. Not to mention her relatives and family connections. All outstanding figures in their respective fields. This was someone who'd won at the starting line. She smiled gently. Sorry for making you wait. I smiled. It's fine, Sophie. I just got here myself. After ordering, the server stepped away briefly. Sophie was incredibly approachable. She said, you can just call me by my first name. I wasn't about to miss this opportunity to climb that social ladder. My eyes lit up as I looked at her. Sophie. Sophie was 2 or 3 years older than me. Why not call her by name? It could quickly close the distance between us. She looked visibly startled, then smiled softly. I'm not hosting a hongmen banquet here. I quickly waved my hands. Not at all, not at all. Are you close with Summer Hayes? Sophie said. Sort of. What kind of close are you asking about? Honesty was the winning strategy. I wasn't trying to manipulate a child here. I said directly. Ideally, whether she has any real dirt. Sophie laughed at that. I know. But I can't tell you. Well, now I was confused. Can I ask you a few questions? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Sophie nodded. Go ahead. Is Summer's family really that wealthy? This rumor had always been around. Summer wasn't exactly low-key. Luxury cars, upscale homes, watches and accessories worth hundreds of thousands. She'd had all this before she was even famous. Sophie nodded. It's true. I asked. Compared to your family? Sophie raised an eyebrow. Roughly equivalent. I sighed. So incredibly wealthy, then. I didn't ask for more specific details. Sophie clearly wouldn't tell me anyway. So if you're not willing to tell me what dirt she has, why support me stalking her? What's in it for you? This was one of my most burning questions. Sophie revealed an almost serene smile. I've found her irritating for a long time now. I hope she leaves showbiz soon. But I don't want to do it myself. Did it really have to be such a vicious curse? Despite that, the meal overall was excellent. First, Sophie was stunningly beautiful. And throughout our conversation, she never looked down on the paparazzi profession. She was a lady whose manners put you at ease. Though I'd said I was treating her, Sophie got up midway to use the restroom. And when I tried to pay, the server said she'd already settled the bill. Sophie smiled. Next time you can treat me. I'm sure we'll meet again. Don't smile like that. I'm just a naive young guy. I won't be able to resist urging you to enter the entertainment industry. And bless the masses. Sophie and I added each other on Instagram. I was truly going all in on Summer Hayes now. This whole time I'd only been shooting her, stalking for months. I'd practically excavated Summer's entire foundation. Summer choking on water while drinking too fast. Summer going to the bathroom at an event. Panicking and fleeing when a bold female fan confessed to her. Summer blushing during a kissing scene. Behind all these trending topics was more or less my handiwork. But the problem was, despite all my efforts, I still hadn't captured anything truly valuable. The things marketing accounts and anti-fans had been loudly promoting. They were still around these past months. But perhaps because there was no real evidence. It was all just fabricated marketing noise. This Summer Hayes woman, when people took an irrelevant photo or video to make up stories, she didn't care. But me, an actual paparazzo, I was the one she held a grudge against. Once at a red carpet event, she even walked over on her own, staring at me in my mask, looking me up and down. "You're Jaden Chen, aren't you?" I naturally met her gaze. "That's right, Miss Hayes. It's me," Summer said. "Good, I'll remember you." She harbored some subtle hostility toward me. Probably because she hated me buzzing around like a fly. Her manager, though, was quite polite to me. Following Summer during this time, her popularity wasn't bad. Her reputation had improved to varying degrees. However, every time I posted photos of Summer, Sophie would praise me on Instagram. Especially content that could be considered embarrassing. Over these months, Sophie and I became online friends with a pretty solid relationship. I still owed her that meal. I was actually quite concerned about it, asking about her schedule twice. But our timing never aligned. Then one night, while following another star leaving a film set, I got a message from Sophie. She sent an address, asking if I was free now. We could get late-night food together. In principle, men and women shouldn't go out together late at night. But I owed her a meal. And Sophie was a busy person. Why wait for another day when today would do? I had my assistant drive home first. Then caught a cab to Sophie's address. Only a few miles away. When I arrived, I discovered she just finished a banquet too. Her face still flushed with alcohol. Her fair skin tinged with pink. She sat on the steps waiting for me. Wearing a long coat, looking unexpectedly docile. "It's freezing. Why didn't you wait in the car?" "Where's your driver?" Sophie said. I wasn't planning to drink, so I let him off early. Turns out it wasn't just late-night food. I was also getting drafted as her substitute driver. Sitting in the driver's seat. Once I'd buckled up, I still had to warn Sophie first. "Just so you know, I've never driven a car this expensive. If anything happens, I couldn't afford to compensate you even if I sold everything I own." Sophie laughed. "It's fine. Full insurance coverage, I won't make you pay." Why was this rich girl's sense of humor so accessible? Winter was perfect for steaming hot pot. I'd only eaten a little for dinner. Was already starving. So who could refuse a late-night food invitation? I didn't know how much Sophie had drunk. But tonight she smiled more than usual. While cooking tripe, she curved her lips. "So, you still haven't uncovered Summer's family background, have you?" I nodded. "Right. Couldn't dig it up. Other paparazzi have been trying for years. Online rumors about Summer's mysterious benefactor have circulated for years. They've photographed her with all kinds of wealthy figures, but couldn't uncover anything concrete. Those photos of her with various people were actually all fake. The person sitting across from me knew this perfectly well, but her lips were sealed tight. While eating, I looked up at her, hinting. Sophie. Sophie smiled softly. You only seem to call me that when you need my help. Just like my little sister. During this time as online friends, our chats had been quite pleasant. I really didn't always call her Sophie, but didn't I have that advantage? I asked this question carefully. My relentless targeting of Summer. I'm not offending her family, am I? She's a wealthy heiress after all. I can't figure out why she's so determined to work in showbiz. Sophie smiled brightly. No worries. Her family doesn't approve of her rolling around in entertainment either. As long as you're truthful, no one will give you trouble. However, she leisurely added, Summer herself might give you trouble. But probably nothing too severe. Fair enough. We finished Hot Pot around 1 a.m. I had to drive the young lady's car and take her home first. Ms. Turner was in no rush whatsoever. I asked for her address. She answered with something completely off topic. Do you have your ID with you? I froze. Sophie pointed across the street. My family's hotel. You can stay there for the night. It's too late to go home now. It was hard not to admire her. 10 minutes later, I sat in a luxury suite in this hotel. My emotions incredibly complex. Ms. Turner really didn't treat me like a hired driver. She was genuinely considerate. I treated her to late-night hot pot. She gave me a presidential suite that cost tens of thousands per night. She stayed in another room on the same floor. The sprawling suite made me feel slightly out of place. But Mr. Chen had been busy all day and was exhausted. Simply washed up and climbed into bed, sleeping like the dead. The next morning, I even had breakfast with Sophie. The young lady staying at her own family's hotel. Couldn't not order breakfast. Sophie asked, Do you have any work scheduled today? I checked my phone. There's a charity event in Riverside tomorrow. They've invited quite a few stars. I'm flying out this afternoon, working there for 2 days. In this line of work, traveling for jobs was routine. Sophie said, I'll have my driver take you home in a bit. Ms. Turner was truly so considerate. I almost wanted to work for her permanently. Rushed home to change and pack. Then headed straight to the airport without rest. On the way I got a message from Sophie. Wishing me safe travels. This woman made such a wonderful friend. 2 days in Riverside. In the bitter cold, the actresses were stunningly beautiful. Though naturally the actors in their suits looked sharp too. My phone filled with messages daily. From various industry colleagues. Or directors of entertainment companies. Managers. Paparazzi did stalk celebrities and leak stories. But with stars, sometimes it was mutually beneficial. As public figures, marketing their personas meant exposing some private aspects. To flesh out their image, public scrutiny came with the territory. So most of the time, journalists weren't really invading privacy. But among these messages, Sophie's check-ins were mixed in. I even started to suspect whether the heiress, bored with her privileged life, wanted to experience the thrill of being a paparazzo with me. My assistant's voice suddenly rang in my ear. Trevor. Who's texting you? Why are you smiling so much? I slowly realized, looking up, my smile freezing. I was smiling? My assistant teased. Yeah. What's going on with you lately? You're not dating someone online, are you? I looked down at my phone screen, surprised to discover that Sophie and I during this time had been in contact every single day. This was bad. That day I muttered to myself countless times. Neither riches nor honors can corrupt me. Neither poverty nor humility can sway me. Neither threats nor force can bend me. My assistant glanced at me worriedly several times, wanting to speak but holding back. Some things, when they first take root, should be restrained. My career Waterloo would finally end by year's end. My team on the streets of New York captured a married male celebrity, passionately kissing a different young woman. Thorough investigation revealed, just last month he'd posted loving photos with his wife on Twitter. And that young woman turned out to be a student at some communications university. The age gap was substantial. My assistant asked me, Trevor, should we release this? I thought for a moment. Contact his wife first. 2 days later, my assistant brought news. Trevor. His wife wants to buy this video. She's offering this much, should we sell? He held up a figure. I nodded. Sell it. Much of a paparazzo's income came from this. Not exactly ethical. But that was the business. I didn't care what the actor's wife wanted. The video for light merchandise sold once. There'd be no second time. However, 3 months later, this celebrity couple suddenly announced their divorce on social media. The wording was beautiful. Just said it was an amicable separation. But soon after, someone photographed the male celebrity appearing with the young woman. The so-called amicable separation was just empty words. I was extremely busy during this time. Besides doing my own stalking, I had to invest effort verifying whether captured content was authentic. This led to occasionally missing some messages. That was normal. What wasn't normal was someone actually calling me because I didn't respond to texts. That heiress. Sophie's voice came through. Been really busy lately? I was at my hotel. Surroundings quiet. Pretty busy. What's up? Sophie said. Wanted to invite you to dinner. This seemed a bit like a joke. Why wouldn't an heiress have friends to dine with? A text would have sufficed. I was about to say something when I heard her ask, "Where are you working lately?" I told her the city name. Not the same city as her anyway. The call didn't last long. My schedule remained chaotic as always. Sometimes sleeping during the day. Going out at night for nocturnal work. This particular nap lasted until 7 or 8 p.m. I was awakened by my phone ringing. Picking up the phone. The bright light made it impossible for a moment to see who was calling. Jaden Chen. Where are you? That one sentence snapped me fully awake. I squinted to see who was calling, starting to question my existence. After washing my face, when I saw Sophie at the restaurant we'd agreed on. Even more so. Did I really treasure my connections that much? I asked Sophie. You're in Haven City for work too? Sophie's gaze first looked me up and down, then slowly spoke. Came here for tourism. And to learn about journalists' work content. She slowly added that sentence. Still being kind, not bluntly calling me a paparazzo. But how could I actually let her follow me? Sophie, I'm begging you. If you want to experience life, find someone else. I'll introduce you to some colleagues. Sophie's gaze held a hint of scrutiny. Don't want to? Before, you were so enthusiastic asking me for information. Now you think I'm causing you trouble? Good Lord, it's not about causing trouble. I'm just a bit overwhelmed. Fine, all right. Letting the young lady learn about paparazzi work isn't a big deal. At least you'll see where the class differences lie. In my paparazzi team, an elegant heiress had appeared. My assistant gaped. Trevor, you're eating this well? If you don't know what to say, shut up. I wasn't amused. This is Sophie Turner. She's following us tonight. My assistant clearly had some impression of her. His attitude a bit off. So Sophie, this heiress, pulled an all-nighter with our small paparazzi crew. Most of the time was spent in the car. Intermittent conversation. Even late at night, we still had to stake out. I told Sophie more than once. If you're sleepy, go back to the hotel. But not only did she refuse to return to the hotel, she wouldn't even doze off in the car. She kept following me around while I worked. 2 a.m. The target appeared. Our car followed. After shooting for half the night, I very reluctantly called the police. Hello. I'd like to report prostitution. Waited for police to arrive and make arrests. Quite a few people were led out in handcuffs. Both men and women. That would trend for sure. Around 6 a.m., the car returned to my hotel. The driver and assistant went up first. I turned to look beside me. Sophie had fallen asleep at some point. Her head rested against my shoulder. Actually quite heavy. I gently pushed the person beside me with my finger, slowly moving away. Almost done when she woke up. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. You're awake? Which hotel are you at? I'll take you over. The young lady had absolutely no desire to move. She said, It's fine. I'll just book another room here. I hated rich people so much. I felt something needed to be said clearly. Last night you saw it yourself. This is how we make money. Relying on celebrities' private lives. If you don't have business here, you should go. Sophie seemed to be thinking about something. Then laughed coldly. Make money like this? Compared to my hotel company. Hiring someone To water my money tree to death with boiling water, this is way more legitimate. Oh, the heiress cared about money trees too? Sophie didn't look down on paparazzi. That was actually quite touching. But if she stayed any longer, she'd affect my composure. Sophie didn't leave. She stayed in Haven City. Though she didn't follow me around. She'd ask about my schedule. Just to arrange dinner with me. Naturally, my whole little crew benefited from the heiress's generosity. Enjoyed several lavish meals. My assistant said very sincerely, "Trevor, no matter how I look at it, Sophie's pursuing you. She keeps watching you." I smiled lightly. "So evaluate her overall package." My assistant said, "Young, beautiful, wealthy, gentle, thoughtful, generous, interesting. The ideal type for every young man." I said, "Now evaluate my overall package." My assistant said, "Young, handsome, capable, honest, kind-hearted, brave. I'll accept the first few. But what the hell are those last ones? Are those words to describe as paparazzi?" My assistant said, "Trevor, 2 years ago when you stalked Dylan Porter, you discovered his private life crossed plenty of red lines. Back then someone offered tens of millions to buy the material you had. You didn't even blink before handing it to the police. If there hadn't been enough evidence to put him in prison afterward, if by chance nothing had happened to him, wouldn't you have faced retaliation? Why did this kid keep poking at painful spots? Don't say any more. Thinking about those tens of millions still makes my heart ache. I'd just graduated not long before. Facing that kind of temptation. Turning down that much money. I cried uselessly for days afterward. So painful. My assistant was speechless. He continued, "We're paparazzi, sure. But our studio has donated to charity plenty of times, hasn't it? We're getting off track here." I cleared my throat. My point is our conditions don't match. Not compatible. A wealthy heiress liking a paparazzo, really? My assistant said nothing for a long time. I thought he understood my point. But then this kid squeezed out one sentence. "But dude, sleeping with this kind of catch is winning the lottery." Sophie stayed in Haven City for a week. Most of the time we interacted like friends. What flowed through the air, whether there was ambiguous affection or not, didn't affect anything. Fortunately, she eventually left. Then came the Lunar New Year holiday. Trending topics were all over the place. I was still busy. My parents traveled abroad for the holiday. Not planning to worry about their son working hard for his career. The 5th day of the new year, I was bored staking out a bar entrance. Half an hour earlier I'd gotten an anonymous call, saying a married actress of nearly 20 years was dating a younger man. Most people in the studio had gone home for the holidays. I came to check it out. Didn't wait long. About 20 minutes. When I saw the actress bundled up, dragging out a young man at least 5 feet 11 inches. Literally pulling him by the ear. Though heavily disguised. Being a paparazzo meant having some sharp instincts. Seeing through disguises wasn't that hard. My car was parked not far away. Or maybe the woman was too agitated. I heard her clearly. "You little brat. How old are you going to bars? Relying on being tall. They didn't check if you're underage, did they? Think you're all grown up now? Wait till we get home and see how mom deals with you." The teenage boy whose ear was being pulled kept calling, "Mom. Give me some face here." I thought it was a big story. Turned out it was just disciplining a rebellious kid. I was about to pack up and go to sleep when a group came out of the bar. Both men and women, except one person looked especially familiar. Seeing the other person's gaze look back, I quietly ducked my head, rolling up the car window too. But it was useless. Sophie knocked gently on the window. Someone behind her called, "Sophie, what are you doing?" I heard her outside the window pointing at the front of the car. I already saw the license plate. I rolled down the window with a smile. "What a coincidence, Sophie. The last time we'd chatted was a few days ago. Just holiday greetings. Mass sent messages at that." She asked, "Working?" I nodded. "Just finished, about to leave." She nodded. "Okay, by the way, could you give me a ride?" I looked past her toward the group behind her, pointing at her friends. Sophie turned to look, then looked back at me. "My driver's not available." They're not headed my way. The young man who'd been walking over to call Sophie to his car stopped, quick on the uptake. Sophie, you have a friend to drive you. We'll head out first then. Without looking back, he called to the others. Come on, let's get in the car. So Sophie tilted to show me the situation. Her friends had all left. I sighed. Get in. Sophie entered the address into my phone. Then fell silent. She closed her eyes. Didn't know if she was sleeping or resting. When the car slowly stopped, I turned to look at the woman whose eyes were still closed. Sophie was truly beautiful. Not just beautiful, but clearly knew how to take care of herself. This private moment was actually a bit delicate. I gently pushed her. Sophie Turner, wake up, we're here. Sophie opened her eyes, but showed no intention of getting out immediately. She looked around, saw the equipment I'd left in the back seat, and said, I have quite a bit of photography equipment at home. Interested in coming up to see? I smiled. Why don't you say you have a cat that does backflips? Sophie was quite honest. I don't have cats. Meaning the photography equipment was real. I'd been about to say, what's so special about photography equipment? Doesn't everyone have some? Then Sophie showed me a photo. Do these catch your eye? I looked closely. Sometimes hating rich people wasn't without reason. I suddenly wanted to go up for a bit. I admitted honestly, I really want to touch equipment worth hundreds of thousands. Sophie smiled and invited me upstairs. It was her private residence. A penthouse in an upscale neighborhood. Reeking of money. The equipment from the photos were all preserved in one room. Temperature and humidity in the room were controlled. I was absolutely stunned. This was simply the room of my dreams. Sophie's voice came from behind. This is the voice of money. If you like them, you can use them. I shook my head frantically. No way, no way. If I bump into something and break it, I can't afford to pay. Sophie said, who's making you pay? I froze. A person couldn't sell themselves for a few cameras and lenses, could they? Before I could finish that thought, Sophie moved closer. She carried the faint scent of alcohol and perfume. She asked me, would being with me count as selling yourself? Wait, why was she being so direct? She asked again. I like you, didn't you know? This time was clearly much more intense. Maybe I shouldn't have come up here. Just to test and touch the equipment. She moved even closer. First time I've liked someone. Don't want to let go. I could only lean back. Sophie asked me, what would it take for you to like me? I bought all these cameras and lenses deliberately for you. Even if you don't like me, you can't possibly not like them, right? Her face lowered to touch my shoulder lightly. Then didn't move anymore. The temperature seemed to keep rising. I felt my heart pounding. My face burning hot too. I said softly, can we go outside to talk? I'm afraid of bumping into them. The person in front of me smiled softly and took my hand, leading me outside. Sophie's hand was warm. I felt even hotter. Sophie poured me a glass of water. Hot water, no less. Right now I just wanted cold water. Sophie took off her coat. Underneath was a gray sweater, adding a more comfortable, homey feel. Jaden. She called to me. I've already said what I'm thinking. What about you? Her eyes were brilliant. I was completely unprepared. Tonight had been completely by chance. For Sophie to confess so suddenly like this. Those words must have been brewing in her heart for who knows how long. And all that brand new equipment in that room. It all required time to prepare. I said, I don't know. Sophie sat down beside me, looking at my face. Don't know in what way. Don't know if you like me. Or don't know if you should be with me. I wanted to say something but didn't know what. Sophie said, if it's the former, let me ask you a few questions. Do you like money? I nodded. Sophie said, I have money. I was momentarily speechless. Sophie asked again, do you find my appearance aesthetically pleasing? I said, sure. Sophie concluded, so in your eyes, I should still be considered beautiful. Is my personality terrible to you? I shook my head. No. Sophie confirmed. Then you like me. What kind of logic was this? A bit unreasonable. She continued talking to herself. But then, looking into my eyes, if it's the latter, how will you know if we're compatible without trying? She was too close. Even the small beauty mark on her neck was incredibly alluring. My assistant's words still echoed in my ear. Sleeping with her is winning the lottery. Some devil's impulse. My lips brushed lightly against the small beauty mark on her neck. Sophie said nothing more, tilting her head to look at me. In those deep eyes was a whirlpool wanting to pull me in. I stumbled. She asked me, "Can I take that as a yes?" Without waiting for my answer, she hugged me tightly. This intimate, prolonged embrace was a first for me too. After a moment, I raised my arms to return the gesture. One late-night overtime session. I was no longer single. Love at the beginning should be kept somewhat private. But adult hormones between men and women provoked each other. After over a week together, we kissed in the car, lost in passion, unable to separate. The feeling of kissing someone you like an electric current running through you. Even my heart felt numb. Lips and tongues tangled. I unconsciously stroked Sophie's hair or earlobe. Until one day she brought me home, upstairs. Kissing in her room, my hand unconsciously slid down to her collarbone. Tracing it lightly, she didn't react much. Continuing down along her collar, sliding inside. She grabbed my hand, voice husky. "What do you want to touch?" I said softly. "Just feeling around." "Don't be stingy." She laughed softly. The next second she pulled my hand out, tucking it in from under her shirt hem. "Go ahead." Very generous, up or down, your choice. Get a little more familiar. The small beauty mark on her neck received countless kisses from me. She also had a small round mole on the inside of her knee. I loved that too. We dated for 2 years. That year Sophie celebrated her 29th birthday. My studio had recently been pivoting, developing crisis management services. One night after we'd finished, she curled up in my arms. "At my age, I should be thinking about marriage. What do you think?" After hearing that, I silently stood up, putting on my shirt. "All right then. Let's break up amicably." Wrong doors, wrong frames, really not easy. I'd been mentally preparing for this day for a long time. Sophie suddenly sat up, pulling me back. "I meant to ask if you plan to meet my parents. And you're talking about breaking up?" I was also startled. "What else? Wait for your parents to write me a check asking how much money. I want to leave you?" Sophie fell silent. She seemed to grit her teeth, pulled a diamond ring from the nightstand drawer, and without hesitation slipped it on my finger. "Let's get married. This is an engagement ring. Do you accept? The ceremony's a bit lacking. But apparently you made me too impatient." Meeting the parents was arranged. I asked Sophie, "What do your parents think of me?" Sophie said, "You started your own studio from scratch. Already achieved this much in your 20s. My parents both think you're very capable." Well, I am a bit exceptional. The day I went to her house, at first everything went quite smoothly. Sophie introduced me to her parents. Then from upstairs slowly descended another figure. Seeing who it was clearly, I froze. What followed was Summer Hayes and me staring at each other in shock. She looked at me first, then at Sophie. "Why is it you?" Her expression looked somewhat devastated. I wanted to ask the same thing. But then Summer trembled, pointing at Sophie. "Sophie Turner, you're so cruel. I wondered why he kept targeting me. You made him do it to drive me out of showbiz. Didn't spare anything for a paparazzo." What was she saying? But right after she spoke, her mother smacked her on the head. "What nonsense are you talking? Hurry up and greet him." So I heard the humiliating form of address. This time I was truly shocked. Sophie introduced. "This is my younger sister. Biological. I have my father's surname, she has my mother's." Sophie then explained to me. Originally planned to have her enter the family company. But this girl ran off to become an actress without telling anyone, dumping all the burden on me. My parents ordered all relatives and friends not to help her. Who knew Summer would still become famous? I found it quite annoying. So that's why I created opportunities for you. To photograph my little sister's scandals. I laughed dryly. You two sisters are quite interesting. Photographed a top star for 3 years, suddenly she's my sister-in-law. Stalked by a paparazzo for 3 years, suddenly he's my brother-in-law. Life really is thrilling enough. One day after our wedding, Summer and I both trended together. Summer's love life was exposed for once. When public opinion erupted, this fragile top star finally couldn't take it and lost it. She posted on her main account, "He's my actual brother-in-law. My biological sister's husband. Are you trying to destroy my family? Do you understand? My sister said she was bringing her boyfriend to meet our parents. And it turned out to be someone I knew. Do you know how that feels? When it rains, why can't I be in my brother-in-law's car? If I don't stay there, what if my sister finds out and beats me up?" Then the trending topics change. Summer says he's my brother-in-law. Summer says, "Are you trying to destroy my family?" I looked at the trends and asked Sophie, "Is your sister okay? Call and check on her." Sophie looked down at financial news. "No need. Her mental state is very healthy. She just got back from outside not long ago. Wearing gold-rimmed glasses. Still in her business suit." That feeling of scholarly elegance mixed with corruption added several layers of maturity. I couldn't help moving closer to kiss her. Sophie cooperated completely, sitting on my lap. "Honey, help me take off my glasses." Extra chapter. From Sophie's perspective. At first I just saw him as a good professional paparazzo. He was professional, interesting, and handsome too. This easily generated goodwill. We were online friends for a while. Initially, he purposefully sought me out asking for various information. But his words weren't offensive. He knew how to gauge boundaries. Later our conversation topics weren't limited to his work anymore. That day Summer came to my office to pester me. Saw me looking down texting Jaden. "Sis. Why are you smiling like that? Don't tell me at your age. You're dating some young guy online. Don't let him scam you out of everything." If I'd known, I would have told Mom I wanted to be an only child. Fine then. Summer can count as half a matchmaker. The end.